This is Orsi, the old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. Join me regularly as I share my interviews with experts on various topics that include anti-aging, sex, relationships, and other things that will help you create that life that you want. Now, I want you to do three things. First of all, I want you to subscribe so you don't miss any of this life-changing information. 2, share it with others. And 3, review. Be sure to do all 3. And now for our podcast. Now, I want to make sure that you do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. 2, share it with your friends because you know they need to hear this information also. To get this stuff so they can have a kick-ass life. And 3, review this podcast. And if you've got a bad review, that's fine too. This is Bert Steele Guy from www.oldguytalks.com here with the creator of the Hot Crazy Matrix, Dana McLendon. And, some people may say, if you are a politically correct snowflakes, you may say that this is the epitome of patriarchal mansplaining. That's right. That's what Snowflake would say. I'm sure you've heard that, Dana, correct?
Straight from the red pill.
Yeah. Mansplaining. So this will be, we've had other politically incorrect guests on this show, but, this may be the most so far, until I score Milo on this show. Milo,
right.
Yeah. So that's but
Milo might have more views than me. I don't know.
Yeah, he might do that. So the Hot Crazy Matrix. And for those of you who have not seen it, I'm going to post a link to it.
Post the one on my YouTube page.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll make sure I get the correct link, and so we'll get that one, and we'll post it. It is a very, very funny thing. I have seen it several times. I get a crack up every time I see it, and and I'm not easily amused. Though some of you may think that it is funny. And you have to have a sense of humor. And if you don't have a sense of humor, you're going to think it's horrible. And we'll be talking about that. But there's lots of people in this world today in the 21st century that lost their sense of humor. So Dana, how did you come up with the idea for this Hot Crazy Matrix?
So I'm a lawyer, been a lawyer for 25 years, and I had a guy come in to hire me for the 3rd time, and it was another, I don't know if it was a child support or another misdemeanor or some kind of nonsense that he was wrapped up in. And I looked at him and I said, "Do you understand why you keep having to hire me?" And he said, "Man, I'm just not lucky." He said, "I'm just unlucky." I said, "That's not it." I said, you keep picking badly when you pick women." And he was like, "Well, what do you mean?" I was like, "Okay." So I started repeating back to him his own story. And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And so I was like, let me see if I can show you this. So I just started sketching this thing that would become the Hot Crazy Matrix in an effort to explain to this guy why he kept winding up in jail and owing money and all that. So it sort of started there. And then as I showed it to people thought it was funny. And there were a couple of iterations along the way. And then finally I showed it to my friend James, and he said, "That's funny. You should do a video." So we turned on the camera and shot the video.
Okay. And when you shot the video, you got just a boatload of hits on YouTube. So tell us a little bit about how many you got, and you mentioned that there'd been some people have been kind of copying and all this stuff.
Oh my God, I hundreds of millions of views, literally. I mean, it's if you Google Hot Crazy Matrix or go on Reddit or I can't even find all the places it's been ripped off and reposted and monetized. And on Facebook, it doesn't take long to find a couple 100 million views just at the top of the search chart. So, it's definitely hyper viral. I tell people that I am by far the most famous person that they know that will not be recognized on the street. Because everybody has seen this video, but yet when I walk around, no one knows it's me. So I've actually had to like convince people that, I mean, I've walked up on people that were watching it who didn't know me, or someone has introduced me to someone and said, yeah, this is the guy that did the Hot Crazy Matrix. And they look at me and they go, no, it's not. I'm like, okay.
Well,
I've had to like prove it.
Yeah. So let me ask you, did you grow the beard to enter the video protection program?
I grow it and then I shave it off and then I grow it again. When the world zigs, I zag. So, it's about to be no shave November. I might just shave it again. We'll see.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's right. That's Men's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month is Movember. So,
okay.
Yeah. So maybe afterwards. So, you're married?
As of today, yes.
As of today, no papers. No papers have been filed yet.
I have
no
not
process servers is following
no
you.
process servers looking for me, and I'm just grateful every day I get home and the locks haven't been changed. So
There you go. Yeah, I do have a friend who came home and the locks were not changed, but all the furniture was gone.
It happens.
It happens. So tell me a little about your wife's reaction to this hot Crazy Matrix video.
Oh man. So we've been married 26 years, and to understand the complexion of this story, I live in a very conservative, fairly small town outside Nashville, and I'm pretty well known. I've been on the city council for 20 years. I've coached hundreds and hundreds of kids in Little League baseball and football. I'm a lawyer, so I'm well known. I had never showed my wife the bit. I'd never showed her the joke, not for any particular reason. It just never came up. And so I shot the video, and James put it on his channel, and it started to go viral. And my sons knew about the video because I had told them. And this was not like some effort to conceal it from her. It just never came up. And one of my sons said to me, hey, Dad, how's the video doing? And my wife said, video? What video? And I said, well, you see, what had happened was, so I took my laptop in the kitchen. She was making dinner, and I started this video, and about 30 seconds in, she goes, you have to take that down. You can't. You have, because she could see the neighbors and the townspeople coming with the torches and the pitchforks to run us out of town, and our lives ruined by my idiot move. So she's watching this video and she's shaking her head, going, "Oh no, you have to take this down." Well, by this time, it's already everywhere. It's gone. It's no returning. So, so she gets to the end of the video and she looks at me and she goes, "You are an idiot." And I was like, yeah. And she goes, "But I'm a unicorn." And I was like, that is exactly the point. That's precisely why I did this whole thing. So she's been a good sport about it. For the most part, people took it for what it was, which was obviously just, poking fun at all of us. Some people got upset, but she's rolled with it. So.
Yeah. So it wasn't like you got disinvited to any Christmas parties in your neighborhood because of the video. I imagine you got invited to 4 parties because of it.
I don't know if I got disinvited to any. One never knows what they don't know. I certainly have had some fun because of it. I've been invited to parties and to places and met people that I would never otherwise have met that have been pretty cool.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. So who have you met that you probably would never have met as a result of this? I'm not going to name drop because that's kind of nuts, but I will say this. Go ahead.
I have been in a billionaire's house in Beverly Hills for a Grammy party where I met people I grew up watching perform. And I've met and talked to household names in music industry, like super mega pop star type people that just happened. One of them, in fact, is the one who discovered the video and sent it to his manager, who eventually contacted me and got me out to Hollywood. So I've been out to Hollywood. I've met the president of Warner Brothers. I was in his office. I had no idea who he was. I've met people in Hollywood and entertainment that are A-list pop star musicians and the movers and shakers that literally do make movies and that kind of thing. So it's been pretty fun.
Okay. All right.
Because there are people interested in right now is not the time, but there are people that want to make a movie. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the screenplay would be very interesting.
Yeah. I told him that the only movie I was interested in making would be one that you could take your girl to and have a good time. And when you left, you could still go home and have fun.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make a movie that made anybody fight or, that made anybody hate anyone. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is all about being fun and having fun. And so this is kind of a natural lead in, because I want to tell, okay, you have had to have had a whole range of reactions about this, from positive, like funny, to like you got called all things misogynist, mansplainer, patriarch, toxic masculinity, all that shit. So tell me about some of the experiences about that, from going from the good to the bad. Okay,
well, I never in a million years thought this video would go viral. I thought, because we were going to put it on James's channel, and James had about a quarter million subscribers on his YouTube channel, and so I knew that it would get out to, but most of the people that were on his YouTube channel were guys like me, who are like cops and soldiers and people that train with firearms and stuff like that. So I thought it would be kind of like, our group of people that saw it. I never in a million years thought it would get out and go hyper viral and be seen worldwide by millions and millions of people. I don't know what I would have done if I'd have known that was going to happen. Maybe I wouldn't have made it. But yes, there have been people. Most people think it's funny. Most people look at it and go, "Oh my God!" They see something in it that is true, that is humorous, and you can laugh. They see that I am poking fun at all of us. There have been some people that got bent, and there have been some people that have kind of poked back at me because, for example, one of the women that I work with regularly is a redhead. So she happened to be in a position to, she's the city attorney in the town where I live. And the city was called by the local media, because I'm an elected official. And so the city was contacted by the local media, like, what do you people say about this? Do you condemn this? So they finally put out a statement, and I called her and I was like, well, what did you think of the video? And she goes, well, I didn't do very good, did I? And I'd forgotten when I called her that she's a redhead. So I realized, yeah, there have been some pushback, but I think most of the people that got like offended, many of them the people that got offended either got offended for someone else, not themselves, like they were white knighting or, whatever. Or they acted as though I had said, hey, you, Mary Sue in Des Moines, you're ugly. And of course I didn't say anything like that. I was clear that the whole thing about attraction and everything is completely subjective and entirely up to you. But when I talked about the no-go zone, I think some of the people that reacted badly felt like I had decided that they were in the no-go zone for everyone. And so they got bent out of shape because they thought I'd called them ugly or something. But
I think what was the term you used? The night thing?
White knight?
White knight thing. It sounds like a victim voyeurism. So
a white knight is the guy on the internet that goes around and tells other guys, don't be mean to girls. Oh. And of course the girls are still not going to sleep with him. So they never were, and they're not going to. Because of his white knighting. So
because white knighting, yeah. So I have I have 6 rules of life, and one of them is actually kind of funny. All boys lie. The more they want something, the better they'll lie. and the first line a girl's ever going to hear is, "I'll love you forever."
I tell women, because I do a lot of divorce work, and if I had a daughter, I would tell her this. In the moments before you, as a woman, decide that you will be intimate with this man, that is his A game. That is the best he's got. That's all the tricks he knows. That's the epitome of his manners. That's the best effort he's got. After that, it's, he's probably not gonna continue to sustain that effort. So if his best effort before you sleep with him is not good enough, then don't.
Yeah, it's not going to get better. Actually, what we talk about is whatever you have, you're going to have more of the same. If it's really good, it's going to it's a maxim that women marry men thinking they can change the man into the man they want, and men marry women thinking they will never change at all. And of course, they're both wrong. They're both wrong. They're both wrong. You mentioned to me when we spoke a little bit earlier that you're not on Facebook anymore. What's all that about? Is that because of the reaction you've gotten?
Not because of the video. I guess maybe the video started that. But not really. I mean, I didn't much care what the reaction to the video was, because overwhelmingly people thought it was funny. It went viral because people thought it was funny. Yeah. It didn't go viral because people thought it was horrendous. It went viral because people saw it for the joke that it was. I got off Facebook because I recently got reelected for the 6th time, and my opponent in this last election was really a horrible person and said terrible things about me and convinced a lot of people of things that were not true about me, that were just disappointing that anyone would entertain those ideas. But it started me to think that, because during the campaign, of course, I had to spend a huge amount of time on social media to manage the campaign and monitor what people were saying and put out fires and all that other stuff. And it's just exhausting. And then I started thinking about how much time I was spending on Facebook. And I realized that it was a lot, like, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 hours a week. And I thought, well, would my life be better if I took those 15, 20, 25 hours a week and applied them to reading good books, spending time with my wife, and maybe working out more? And obviously the answer to that was yes. So I was like, all right, well, that's a good enough reason. So I decided to go ahead and get off Facebook and take that same time and read books, spend time with my wife, and work out more. And so I did. And what I didn't realize when I decided to do that was that the absence of greed, envy, lust, schadenfreude, and contempt from my life, as delivered to my life through Facebook, by itself was well worth it. So even if I took the same 15, 20, 25 hours a week and sat in a dark closet by myself, the removal of those things, greed, envy, lust, schadenfreude, and contempt, from my life was by itself worth it. So it was the reason that I decided to do it was about reallocating my time to something productive. The unintended consequence and benefit of it was that I had a whole lot of negative energy removed from my life. And, that's unfortunate, because the way the world is today, with the polarization of politics and all the tribalism that's going on and everything, it's perfectly distilled and crystallized in social media. And I just think it's become terribly unhealthy.
Yeah, no, I think you're very correct. I think there's actually not an opportunity to have an honest disagreement with people about things. It's
right. And people will say things on social media that they would never dream to say in your face, either because they just wouldn't have the courage to say it, not because you'd punch them in the mouth, maybe, but they just wouldn't want the reaction of anyone else in the room, right? Like, I mean, like there's this disconnect where people will say things on Facebook about you, or to you even, that they would never in a million years say in the room. Even if you weren't there, they wouldn't say it out loud in front of a group of people. Mm-hmm. That's what was so disappointing to me in the campaign, was that people said things about me that were just demonstrably untrue that they wouldn't say to me because I would take them to task for it. So I think the world would be a better place if more people got punched in the face.
I think that's true, and there's a, that I'm sure that's very controversial given everything that's going on.
Well, well, look, let me be clear. I don't think that people should go out and commit acts of violence.
Yeah, right.
But I also think that you should be prepared to suffer the consequences of stupidity, and you are not allowed to simply say like you can say whatever you want to me. You can insult me, whatever you want to say to me. I'm gonna make clear how I feel about that. But there's a disconnect between people feel like they can just say and do anything without even the potential for consequence now. And so,
Yeah. Well, that's a level of bullying that, and the only way really to deal with bullies is to stand up to them. And that's kind of a thing that seems to be going by the wayside in our culture, that we're allowing this bullying to continue on without any consequences, as you say.
Well, there's a lot of that, and it's the breakdown of the fabric of our communities. And I'll admit that I'm guilty of this. I live next door and across the street from people I don't know, and so I'm not making their life worse, but I'm not making it better.
Sure.
And when I grew up, my neighbor's mother had permission to spank my ass. And again, I'm not advocating violence, but I knew that all the moms in the neighborhood were in it together.
Sure.
And if me and another kid in the neighborhood got in a fight, our parents would not immediately start accusing each other of being wrong. They would, either say, well, y'all need to sort it out, or it was different. I don't know if it was better, but it was certainly different. And now, you got these, everybody's a victim, and nobody wants to take responsibility for what they've done. And everybody wants to be able to do anything they want to say or do anytime, anywhere, and without suffering the consequences of either being ostracized from the community or, having somebody decide, hey, I'll suffer the consequences for what I'm about to do, but you're going to suffer the consequences for what you just said to me.
Yeah. You were talking about not knowing your neighbors. It's one of those things that where something that benefits your life actually hinders it. The garage door opener.
Right.
I think that is like the single biggest killer for you to actually know your neighbors, because you hit that garage door opener, it opens the door, you pull in, you close it behind you, and you're in your fort.
Absolutely. As a city alderman for 20-something years, I've become immersed in community planning and what makes a good neighborhood. And the garage door opener is absolutely one of them. And the other thing is, if you drive around in neighborhoods that were built in the 80s and 90s, now the trend is reversing, but when the garage door got introduced, the front porch went away. And so if you drive around and look in communities like where I live, you'll see 2-car garages and 3-car garages on the front of the house, no front porch at all. And it used to be that you knew your neighbors because you'd go out and stroll around the neighborhood and be invited up on the front porch. You couldn't sit on my front porch with another person if you wanted to. It's just a doorway that no one, like we come in through the garage. So I agree. And the origin of that was actually the transition of the United States into a commuter-oriented culture, where you got in the car, you drove to work, you drove home. And it wasn't important that you knew your neighbors because you weren't going to actually ask them to help you mend the fence. You weren't going to ask them to help you get the cow back into the pen or trade, whatever, as you might have in the years past. You weren't going to, everybody became like autonomous and independent in their little nuclear family, and the car, we became a vehicle centered, community or culture. And it really did change things fundamentally. You went home and you watched the television. You drove from your home to your work and your work to your home, and you spent time in your home on the television. And it's getting worse, actually, because now, I would tell you as a divorce lawyer that divorce rates are up and going to continue to go up, and the marriage rate will continue to go down. The number of children born out of wedlock will continue to go up, and the divorce rate will continue to go up, because now you can actually interact with complete strangers on the internet, just as we are doing now, rather than go spend time with the people that you recruited into your life. So, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these things. I mean, people spend time arguing with strangers on the internet rather than asking their wife how their day went.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's after they drove the car from home to work and back and parked it in the garage and didn't participate with anyone in their life. So
that's pretty amazing. Yeah, it is pretty amazing, because the art of conversation, the art of speaking to a person in person, is being lost. And actually, I tell my kids that's actually, if they can master that, they're going to have a competitive advantage in their whatever their profession is going to be.
My older son, he's 22. He just started a job in sales, and he started this job with a number of other young people. And I think he's seeing that people in his generation are somewhat crippled, because and my older son has spent a lot of time with grown men and women, and interacted with people, grown-ups. Yeah. And you'd like to think that all kids have done that, but they really haven't, because my older son is finding out that he has peers that do not know how to talk to a man who is their father's age, who is not their father.
Sure.
And so they're in the world of sales, where they're 22 years old and trying to provide a service or a product to someone who's a decision maker, who may be someone that is their parents' age, male or female. They don't know how to talk to them.
Yeah, no, we've made a point of having our kids interact with adults on a one-on-one basis, and I have a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old, and they're it's kind of interesting to watch them interact, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we've always had them interact with adults in a one-on-one way, and have conversations with people, and actually have a substantive conversation, not necessarily serious, but substantive.
Well, we're not raising kids the way that kids used to get raised. When I look at like the events of today, and I say today, I mean like recently, like this, suddenly, because of these bombs, all these politicians have decided it's time to be civil. Okay, thanks a lot. 5,000 years ago, life was very simple. It was brutally hard, but it was very simple. Mm-hmm. Your goal for today was food, water, fire, shelter, and protection from people that would take all your shit. Mm-hmm. And so if you got that all done today, congratulations, you get to do it again tomorrow. And so you surrounded yourself with people that were committed to the same cause. And then if you had, say, boys in this group of people, it was necessary that all the men in that group teach those boys skills that were useful to men. Mm-hmm. So you had boys, by and large, raised by men, and you had women, by and large, raising the smaller children and girls. And I'm not necessarily saying that was good or better or best, but that's not happening anymore, because now 5,000 years later, life is incredibly easy in the Western Hemisphere or first world. Sure. It's incredibly easy, but it's extraordinarily complicated. Mm-hmm. So, if you're hungry now, you just drive past a building and hand them some paper with green ink on it, and they throw a bag of food in your car that's more than you could eat in 2 days. And yet the immersion 24-hour news cycle, the immersion in social media, the constant stream of data and external forces and everything. And now we're delegating the raising of our children to paid people, third-party people. It's not, it doesn't seem to be working as well as we had hoped, is what I'll say about that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, a lot of times our kids are getting advice from people who have no business giving advice.
there's that, and there's also the fact that for the most part, our kids spend more time with teachers that are hired for the job than with their own parents.
Mm-hmm.
Quality time, like awake time interacting,
Sure.
because the parents have taken a position. The parents are working, so everybody goes off and does their own thing all day, and then you may get a couple hours in the evening together as a family. And so your children are being influenced more by their peers and by adults who, on a good day, are committed to their best interest, but who are all, after all, paid, and that's different than, like, to borrow a hackneyed phrase, it takes a village. So, I don't really know all the men and women that have had the opportunity to spend hours every day with my sons.
Mm-hmm.
That would never have been the case, 100, 200 years ago. I would have known everyone that was, interacting with my kids.
Sure.
This is Orr's the official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. And part of creating that life has to do with sex. But often, for old guys, there's a problem. It's called erectile dysfunction. And guys don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it to their significant others. They don't want to talk about it to their doctors. And they don't talk about it to other guys. I mean, let's face it, guys just don't sit around and talk about it. And the problem is that it affects their emotional and physical intimacy. It causes pain in their life. Often, men are embarrassed. They're embarrassed about it and will tend to even avoid sex for fear of not being able to perform. Now, for a while, those pills will work, and then eventually those are going to stop working. And then you start looking at other options, other medical therapies. And if you happen to do that, you find out that, well, they're very expensive. They can cost thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands of dollars. And some of them require, well, for you to go to the doctor multiple times, maybe 6 to 12 times. Now, for many men, the cost and the time is prohibitive, and they just end up not doing anything. One of the most famous therapies that you hear about on the internet and radio right now is called sonic wave therapy. And for many men, it works. But again, cost prohibitive. Thousands of dollars, multiple visits. But now I'm pleased to tell you that there is a sonic wave ED therapy that's available for you to use in the privacy of your home. That's right. You don't have to go see a doctor. You don't have to get a prescription. No one has to know. You don't have to be embarrassed by going to the doctor's office with it. And best of all, it's at a fraction of the cost. Now, you may think that this is some sort of like cheesy little device that, well, it can't be as good as the thing that they use in the doctor's office. Well, I want to tell you, first of all, that this is an FDA-registered device. That's right, FDA-registered device. And it puts out the same sonic wave signature as the in-office device that doctors use. Now, it's an amazing thing. And you can do this in the privacy of your home. Again, you don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to continue to suffer. And your partner does not need to suffer also, because they do. They're hurt as much as you are. Now you're asking me, how do I find out more about this? How do I get this device? Well, let me tell you. Go to getmyphoenix.com/old guy. Again, getmyphoenix.com/old guy, old guy one word, and click on that link, and you start to get the information and start to get the treatment that you're looking for and regain that confidence, your ability as a man, and regain the ability to have both physical and emotional intimacy. You're going to be glad you did. You're going to be glad you did. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Don't hesitate. Do it now. Get it. Stop the suffering. Stop the pain. Recreate that life that you want. Remember, At oldguytalkstome.com, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love.
Sure. And everybody has their own different agendas too. So Dana, talking about relationships, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to get more into detail because you're in this space from a bunch of different perspectives. What do you think is the most critical thing for a man and a woman in their relationships? If you could say, okay, there's these things are the most important. I view these things as the most important. What would you say those would be?
Okay, so I think the biggest error that is being made these days in pair bonding is that people have this idea that there's a soulmate. People have this notion that there's someone out there that is their perfect match. Nobody else, just that one. And I reject that. And I think it's not only silly, I think it's absolutely destructive, because imagine what that means. If you believe in a higher power, if you believe that all of this is not random, then if you believe in soulmates and you say, well, this isn't all just some random explosion of gas that over billions of years became life. And maybe that's what it was, but whatever. Imagine the cruelty of a creator that would say, I'm placing you on a planet and there are 8 billion people there and there is one for you. Good luck. It's the cruelest game of hide and go seek ever created. So I don't believe that. I think for any person, so to answer the question more directly, if you want to be happily married for a long time, or at least married for a long time, you better find someone who is willing to forgive you at least as many times as you are willing to forgive them. Because you will not have a long-term relationship that does not require the forgiveness of a significant wrongdoing or series of them. You will say something unkind to your spouse. You will do something that arguably would be grounds to be divorced. Those things will happen. You will do them. They will do them too. And so if you want to be in a long-term relationship, you better be good at extending, offering, and giving real forgiveness. And forgiveness is not an emotion. Forgiveness is not something that you feel. Forgiveness is a decision that you make and then act on. And I'm not saying that anything and everything is forgivable. Certainly it's not. If there's violence, if there's abuse, those things are not okay, and you should not tolerate them, and you should not stick around for them if they're not going to be only temporary. And maybe not even then. But if you want to be in a relationship, a durable relationship, the key to that is being committed to forgiving someone, and committing and understanding that love is also not really an emotion. Lust is an emotion. Limerence is maybe an emotion, but love is a decision. I joke with my wife sometimes that I love you anyway, meaning, hey, for this moment in time, or maybe this week, or maybe because of this thing that I did or that you did or whatever, in spite of that, I choose to love you. I choose to love you all over again. And so if you don't see those qualities in this person that you're thinking about being in a relationship with, good luck with that. Because if you're not willing to extend grace and receive grace, you're not going to get anywhere, not for long. And if you go around measuring everyone against this soulmate standard, everyone fails. This idea of a soulmate fails not only because you'll never win that game of hide and go seek, but because you are comparing real people to a fictitious character. That no one will ever meet that standard, not for long.
Sure. It's the highlight reel of someone's life that you're trying to compare yourself with, or try to.
Well, to connect the dots back to the social media thing, that's the problem with social media, is that what you see on social media is everyone's curated highlight reel designed to portray a much better life than they actually live. The reality is, everyone does dumb shit, and everyone, everyone offends their spouse, and everyone's kid does something stupid and embarrassing, and all that happens, but no one ever puts that out there.
Yeah,
you know.
You see the happy family picture, but you don't see
Right.
the argument about combing the hair for the girls, about getting dressed on, getting the pants on, getting the shirt on the boys. All the arguing that went a full hour of arguing that went up for that happy picture.
Yeah, I if you want me to believe that your life is what you say, then give me the password to your telephone and your Facebook account, and let me compare what you post to the text messages and the direct messages and all those things that you're not proud of. And if they all add up to the same thing, then okay, I'll believe you and respect you. But otherwise, you just have to take, and that's the same thing, in a relationship. In a relationship, the curtain's going to be pulled back. You're going to know that person's flaws and all that. Now, as far as like hardcore practical, like how-to advice, I would say, do not marry anyone that you haven't lived with for a year. And I know that flies in the face of all kinds of religious and moral advice, but I'm a practical person. I'm a divorce lawyer, and I've managed to stay married for a long time. I would say you need to live together for a year, because that way you have a chance to actually know someone. And you can work out the kinks that may otherwise exist. For example, if God forbid if you've gotten involved with a savage who squeezes the toothpaste tube in the middle of the tube, then at least you can know that, and that if you've tolerated that for a year, then that won't come as a surprise to you when you get back from the honeymoon and you've married a middle squeezer. So you'll also see them throughout seasons. You'll see them on birthdays and holidays. And you should also meet their entire family, or have their family's absence from their life satisfactorily explained to you.
Well, Dan, I have to tell you that I've been married for 26 years now. Actually, 25, I should say. And we did violate your rules. Actually, my wife and I never dated. You just got married? We met working on a project. She was actually out of the country and working on a project, and we met once, and then we met a second time, and then we got married. And but there were many things that we came from very, very similar backgrounds, where we actually while we did not know our families as individuals, we knew our families as the type of people that they were, because we were both of the same ethnic group, and so it was very easy.
Yeah, my advice is not the only way it can work.
I think for the vast majority of people, I mean, I think we're outliers. I would not recommend when we get to.
I mean, there are other ways to do it. That whole virgin at the altar, all that. If that works for you, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to play the odds.
Yeah.
Because I have a sample size of 1 when it comes to how to be married, but I have a sample size of, 5,000 when it comes to what doesn't work.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Because I've been married once, but I've handled, I can't tell you how many divorces. So I've heard all the complaints that bring people into a divorce lawyer's office. Sure. And many of them would be remedied if you just simply had realistic expectations about what marriage is really going to be. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a series of disappointments and good times and bad, and you're going to have to work through the bad and celebrate the good, and never get and never give up. That's about it.
All right. So Dana, the old guy's all about virtues and vices, and we've been talking a lot about virtues here, and that's probably a turn that most people would probably not have expected since where we started. But the old guy likes to find out some of the things about his guests. So let me.
And I'm an open book.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. We love open books. So Dana, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
If you got in my car right now, you might hear Led Zeppelin, You might hear Miles Davis. You might hear Waylon Jennings.
Mm-hmm.
I like old school rap. So I grew up when rap came out. So
okay. And
about the only thing I don't like is like I don't like opera, and I hate bro country. Anything about a dude in a pickup truck down by the river with a girl in short shorts, just keep it.
Man, you are living in the wrong place for that.
Well, it's a bunch of bullshit. Those songs are all written by two dudes at Starbucks that don't own a truck. They showed up in BMWs and wrote the song. So it's a bunch of bullshit.
There we go.
So, I like authenticity. I like authenticity. I'll put it that way.
Do you smoke cigars?
Nope.
Oh my gosh. How do you live without smoking a cigar? Oh my gosh.
Man, I've been an athlete all my life, so just tobacco is not a thing.
I mean, I've run marathons, been up Kilimanjaro. I still smoke a cigar. Actually, I hiked in Iceland 2 years ago with my oldest daughter for 7 days. I brought cigars.
You know, I'll say this. The idea of being like able to pick and enjoy a fine cigar, I think that's cool. There's something manly about that. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I kind of get the allure. I've just never really gotten into it. So
okay. Right.
I don't knock it. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's just not something I do.
Yeah. So do you have alcohol?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll drink a good beer. I'm completely over the whole IPA craze. Like they're making shit that tastes like that Mr. Clean, you know, stuff now with the pine salt. They're making stuff that tastes like pine sol now. I like a good Belgian. Right now it's October, so Oktoberfest beer. I like a really good Pinot Noir wine, and I'll drink vodka. I do not drink dark liquor anymore. Me and Jack Daniels had a bad relationship. We thought we could whip everybody's ass, so I had to leave Jack in the ditch when I was 18 years old. And the last time I drank tequila, I wound up in another country in a hotel room naked with another man. So I don't do that anymore either. That's a true story.
You can't make that up.
No, it may not be quite as fun as it sounds.
I don't think it would be fun, but that's okay.
Well, so I started out in the other country, and I knew the guy, and we were supposed to share the hotel room. We were not supposed to drink a half a gallon of shitty tequila and wind up naked, but we did.
Okay.
So, and it turned out that we wound up naked because we were pranked by some girls that we were traveling with.
Okay. So this was not like the wrestling scene in Borat.
No. No. So, but that was the last time I drank tequila.
Okay.
I don't drink tequila anymore either.
Okay. So Dana, if somebody caught you in a closet doing something that you don't want the world to know about, what would that be?
What would getting caught doing something I don't want the world to know about be that you want me to tell you on Facebook Live? I guess singing along to Christopher Cross Sailing or the Pina Colada song.
Oh,
I do know all the words to both.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think there's maybe a darker thing there that you're not willing to share with us.
I got to be a man of mystery.
Yeah. There we go. So, what's that T-shirt what's that say on there that you're wearing?
It says Unicorn Search and Rescue Team.
All right. So explain and now if you watch the video, folks,
everyone's seen the video.
You'll understand.
There's no one who has electricity in their home hasn't seen the video.
So if somebody wanted to get one of these T-shirts, how do they get one of these? Because you got some stuff. You've got some stuff that's associated with your video. What's going on with that? As far as you got a swag store and some other stuff.
I did. I took it down because I just got to the point where like the people that were running the fulfillment for me got too big to deal with my little world. Man, if you want a shirt, just email me at Dana McLendon at iCloud.com. Can you post a link or something?
I'll do that.
Yeah, just email me and we'll work out a PayPal and I'll send you. I've got these shirts. I've got unicorn shirts. I've got certified unicorn shirts for girls, women.
Wow.
I probably got a couple small hoodies left.
Okay.
So I've got a ton of posters. So if you want a poster, email me. I'll sign the poster. I'll make it out to you personally and put it in a tube and send it to wherever. I just sent a poster over to Aviano Air Force Base. For a guy over there. So.
All right. Well, Dana, I want to thank you. This interview went places that I did not anticipate at the very beginning, which is the beauty of doing these interviews with people is that especially with interesting people such as yourself who's done something very, very unique. 100 million plus hits on your YouTube video. Certainly very, very funny. And as I mentioned, folks, we're going to be posting the link to that video here in the comments section.
Yeah. I tell people that I made science fun.
There we go.
Now, I want to make sure that you do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. 2, share it with your friends because they need to hear this information also. To get this stuff so they can have a kick-ass life. And 3, review this podcast. And if you've got a bad review, that's fine too. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe, share, and review. Until next time, remember, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love.